Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stronger Together. I have to remember to play our song when I come on. I always say I'm going to do it, and then we get here to the top of the hour and I
Oh, you
forget
gotta
to do
play
it.
it because the station
I know. I got
in
to do
South
better.
Africa.
Oh,
Mm.
my goodness. I know. All right, Brother Mojo, go on and open us up properly.
Ah, okay. Well, Hotep, peace and blessings, family. We greet you in the name of God and our ancestors, and whose footsteps we most humbly walk. We want to thank you for joining us on this, the first show of the new year for Stronger Together.
Hmm. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Dion. Hello, hello.
I don't see nobody.
You don't see anybody yet?
Oh,
You
here,
gotta look in there.
okay, comments.
Yes, in the
I was
comments
it
section.
was on private.
Okay. Well, now come on over and join the rest of us. So yes. All right. So Brother Moja, we could not, as he mentioned, this is our first Stronger Together of the year. It's been a busy first couple weeks of the year, right?
That's an understatement.
Yes, it has been major. And one of
We are
the,
happy.
say it again.
I said, but we are happy. We thank the Creator for blessing us of what we have.
You know what? Actually, let's just take a moment. And I want everybody who's joining us to just take a moment of gratitude, right? Let's just sit in that just for a moment. Yeah, we have there's so much stuff happening in the world today. There's so much that is being activated within so many of us that
Yeah,
if we don't take these quiet moments, if we don't take time to pay attention to those things that we do have gratitude for, we can easily get lost in the tumultuous nature of the moment.
yeah. And Dr. Walls, this definitely want to stop and send our prayers out to all the families who lost loved ones in the plane accident in
Mm,
Washington, D.C.
mhm.
Doesn't matter where they're from, but they were human
Mhm.
beings. They had family, and they
Yes.
now families have lost loved ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely send our prayers out to them, and let's say we love you, and
Yes.
hopefully this too shall pass.
Yes. Yes. And may you experience God's comfort at this time. It is so many times things happen and that we don't understand. And that take us by surprise. And the topic
Mhm.
that we have tonight that we couldn't let the month go by, considering we spend so much of our time working on this topic
Yeah,
of preventing and stopping human trafficking because it is a global condition that is not necessary.
definitely not. It's definitely not necessary. I guess the the foundation of it is greed and
Yeah.
disrespect for another person's life.
Mhm. Mhm. And so, we do create we have a web series created around it that we'll talk about in a moment. And but then also just looking at what it is and how many times, with shows like what is it, SVU,
Yeah,
and sometimes
no,
like
no, that's
Chicago PD and different shows will highlight this topic of human trafficking. And initially when you think about it, I think most people think about the person who's involved in it, eh, but then there's also the family members
yeah,
that are impacted by it and the traumatic nature for everybody involved, family, friends, loved ones, the
yeah,
community,
yeah.
and so forth. And I had the hardest time creating the flyer today for this show because it was like, all right, human trafficking prevention month. That's what January is. And we looked at the calendar and here it's January 30th. And I was like, we haven't done a show yet.
Yeah.
And then Stronger Together seemed like the perfect opportunity to talk about this because it takes all of us to help with this. It takes all of us to put a stop to it. It's not just in one neighborhood. It's
That's good.
not just with one group of people. It's not just in one age group.
Yeah.
This is something that is impacting boys, girls, men, women, you know, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, young, teenagers, children, babies, infants, older people. It's social economic level. Like there, it is impacting all types of people. Um, and we need to bring awareness to it. We know it's a heavy topic, but my platform is about bringing information, bringing education, bringing inspiration, and bringing empowerment. And
Mm.
this is one of those topics that unfortunately has impacted my life and Edmund's life in different ways, and we're going to share that. Um, but we need to talk about it. So, Brother Umoja, I'm gonna turn it over to you for you to talk about why is this topic so important to you, as well as what have you been doing to assist in the elimination thereof.
Mhm. Well, I think not only before I say important to everyone first and
Mhm.
foremost, because I mean there might be people listening thinking it doesn't impact them, but it impacts all of us. If you're paying your taxes,
Mhm.
it impacts you because the city, the state you live in, have to take taxpayers' dollars to
Mhm.
help fight this, to help bring different um, organizations together within city government, state government, national government. Money has to be diverted to certain resources
Mhm.
to help stop this. And the government makes money by taxing us.
Mhm.
So your
Mhm.
tax dollars are being used to help get rid of
Mhm.
fight human trafficking. So this is impacting everyone on some level.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
Okay, even though you don't pay taxes, it's still impacting you because the money
Good
from the
point.
government is doing something in there somehow. Police, more police on the street, less police on the street, this or that.
Mhm.
So you are being impacted on some level
Mhm.
when it comes to human trafficking. Okay, that's
Mhm.
something we have to see. For me personally, I think when I lived in Florida and then I used to work, my sensei got me involved with an organization just to help with the security. And then, when they told me what it was that it, I was in college and I was like, huh? You know what?
Mhm.
It didn't read because you don't. A lot of us don't think about it.
Mhm.
And then when you start thinking about it, then you see the different aspects of human trafficking, from some forced labor, taking someone's
Mhm.
passport away from them or their green cards and making them work for less money or for no money just so they can get their freedom from
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Get the freedom? That sounds like slavery, right?
Mhm.
So even from that, it made me stop and think as a young person in college back in the early 80s.
Mhm.
And so now here I am, way past my college days and stuff.
Mhm.
And and I'm looking at what's going on. I'm saying, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And then this thing doesn't drop. God puts it in my lap because
Mhm.
I like photography and I went into film, and then all of a sudden it's like this is a topic where I felt that not enough. There was another seat at the table for us to sit in, Dr. Walls.
Mhm.
Everyone could do something. You know,
Mhm.
everyone could do something. Not because I'm not trying to sit in anyone's chair.
Mhm.
Right? And so for me, it was like, what can we do?
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's make it. Let's make it focus on the family.
Mhm.
And sometimes I say family friendly, but I don't like saying that too much. I just want to make it
Yeah.
focus on the family to where
Mhm.
it's like, let's put a project together where it
Mhm.
doesn't involve sex, it doesn't involve nudity, and
Mhm.
but it still touches human trafficking from a different perspective because we know everything has 360 degrees too. It depends on where you're standing, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
doing Kadaga was, let's take those two big components of human trafficking, put them on the side.
Mhm.
Let's look at it from another perspective, a different side, a different angle. And the end goal
Mhm.
maybe will make people start thinking, start a conversation, because all of a sudden we're talking from a different perspective where we have women, professional women, coming together to help stop human trafficking. And people say, what's these professional women? How are they stopping human trafficking? So that's what the story is about. In Kadaga, we have these women who have come together from different professions, and then we use their profession. So it
Mhm.
could be a clinical psychologist, it could be an author, they could be a nurse, they could be this, but they're still on the side or in their life,
Mhm.
doing daily life, they are still doing something
Yeah.
that reflects back on us. You can still do something though you have your professional life. Do something about it. You can do
Right.
something, make a phone call or just
Yeah.
pass it out the stuff we got from Blue Campaign.
Yeah.
There's ways that we you could do something.
Yeah.
What can you do? Ask that question. What can you do to make an impact?
Yeah.
I don't need $1 million. All you need is your time
Mhm.
to do something. And I think that's what I think for me and Kadaga, as I write Kadaga, is like, what can we do in our daily lives to make an impact, to 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 put a spotlight on another aspect of this really terrible thing.
Mhm. Yeah, I think what happens is a lot of times I mean, it is a topic that is definitely overwhelming. It is a topic where you are questioning what can you do, right? Because we see it in movies like Taken, where, there's the infamous line like I have a particular set of skills, and right? And it's this
Yeah.
wonderful you know hero story, so to speak. But people don't have those set of skills, right?
Mhm.
When this happens, what happens? There was a comedian or an actress who was recently being interviewed on a show, and I'm blanking on what show it was, but she was saying her 15-year-old daughter was in Europe. And so the daughter was saying how she was going to go out and have a drink. And she was like, "Excuse me, you're not going out to have a drink." And she said, "Well, in Europe, the drinking age is younger." And she said, "And you understand that I'm your mother and I don't have a particular set of skills." Right. And so, and she was like, "If somebody takes you because you are inebriated, I don't have those types of resources for me to jump on a plane and then search the world to find you.
Yeah.
So do not put yourself in a position that might make something like that even more possible, because you don't have to do anything for it to be possible, but don't set yourself up to make it easier for
Yeah.
somebody. And they have the movie on Netflix right now. I think it's taking I think it might be Carlicia. It's either Netflix or one of the streaming channels. And I shared with you that took place right outside of our office, right down the street from our
Yeah.
office a few
Yeah.
years ago. I think it was
Yeah.
shortly before we met. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. There's a piece of me that has been hesitant because it is so close.
So close to home.
It is so close. Like she got off the bus at the bus station at the stop that we see daily,
Mm.
and was then, taken from that space, which is, incredibly frightening. I see Dion put, when I first went to college, I had a group of girlfriends from the Philippines, and they later told me they were trafficked to the USA by their own families.
Mm.
Wow. And I mean, unfortunately, that's not
It's a,
unfamiliar.
it's a reality.
You talked about in St. Lucia, there was a Creole term or a French word for, oh, and of course, I don't remember, but there was a French word for when the family gives their underage person.
Oh yes. Wow, I just this one, but you say that I forgot all about that because
Mhm.
wow, wow, wow. I have,
Right. So let
I
me
have
finish. They give their underage person to an older gentleman, and that older gentleman pays the family. And this was a common practice. And in our working through this series, in our own personal experiences, me with clients or with other clinicians who have shared stories, unfortunately, it is not an uncommon practice in
Mhm.
various cultures. So we're
Culture.
not just saying in the Caribbean, it happens here in the States. It happens in other places where, number one, sometimes people don't even know that it's not okay. It is so practiced so much
Culture.
within cultures and communities that it has become, dare I say, normalized.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, this is not a normal way. It's not a healthy way. It's not a safe way. And then there's the trauma behind it to the individual, to the loved ones, and so forth. Go ahead, Brother
No,
Moja.
you're saying that, and one thing, even the movie, at the very beginning, the movie, Woman King, with
Yes.
Viola Davis. If you remember, the other lady, the young girl was given to the king because the father was like, "You're too much. You're too trouble. You're too much trouble."
Oh, yes, she sure
He
was.
walked into the gates of the king and said, "Take
Yes,
her, give it to
yes.
give it to the king." So even from that perspective, you talk about human
Mhm.
trafficking, where the family gives the child, and what you're talking about, I know the I was in St. Lucia, and the gentleman said to me, he said, the mother wanted him to take the daughter,
Mhm.
but she could not handle the daughter anymore. He's like,
Mhm.
he's a grown person, and he's getting offered this offer because the mother felt, hey, I'll give her get certain amount of money for her and stuff like that. And I was like, what?
Mhm.
When he told me that, he's like, and I was like, wow. And
Yeah.
then it makes you stop and think of how much of this is so much right in front of us that we don't see it.
Yeah. It's
And
so
from
it's so and right, it's almost, it's so blatant.
Yeah. So as I write Kadaga, I bring those subtleties into Kadaga, so make people
Mhm.
think, because a lot of us experience those things, but we don't connect the dots. Or
Yeah.
we hear about 'em, we don't connect the dots. So for this month, we're in
Yeah.
the last day of the month, but this month is one of the titles for January is Human Traffic Awareness Month.
Yeah,
Yes.
prevention, Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and January 11th, I believe it was Human Trafficking Prevention Day.
Mhm.
And I know sometimes we get inundated with all of these months, and some people are like, I didn't even know there was a Human Trafficking Awareness Month or Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and so forth. And that's why, again, tonight we were like, oh, we have to get on because the month is almost over. Now, mind you, human trafficking prevention is something that Brother Moja and I work on daily. We are all via with our scripts, with contacting people and so forth. As you can see, what's on the screen right now is information from the department. Goodness gracious. I want to say the Department of Human Services, but I don't think that's
No,
correct.
no,
Homeland
well,
Security, Department of
okay.
Homeland Security. That's who it's from. And this is their blue campaign. And I'll be putting up several images throughout this conversation. And what I like about their campaign is that the first one, it was like a teenage girl here with a different racial background. Here you can see there's a male who looks a little bit older because a lot of times people, again, are thinking young, they're thinking female, they're thinking a certain, and we have to get out of our own minds on what we think human trafficking looks like and open up our minds to the awareness that it
Mhm.
happens in several different ways.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that it talks about, and there's all types of, excuse me, materials that are out. We keep flyers at our offices so that people, thank you, Kelly. Yes, Homeland Security. We keep flyers at our office so that people can pick up on it when you go to the airports. A lot of times there are things, yes, there are placards in bathrooms that tell you signs, look out for it, phone numbers to call, all of those types of things. Go ahead, Brother Moses.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna pull up the name of the movie and put it in the chat.
and as we put this stuff for Blue Campaign up, I want to shout out Philadelphia SUV.
Mhm.
I'm not going to mention the officer's name, but his name was given to me by another officer, and he's the one who put me in contact with the people for Blue Campaign. I call them, send them, and they send me all the literature and all the flyers that we have. So I'd like to thank the brother from Philadelphia SUV who took the time to respond to my text and then my phone call and spoke to me, because just at the beginning I said we all could do something. Okay,
Mhm.
we all could do something. It just took a couple of phone calls. I spoke to one law enforcement gentleman I know who's retired, and he put me in contact with someone who is active, and then he gave me the information to who I needed to talk to, and I spoke to them, and I got to this because I had never heard about the Blue Campaign until I spoke to them. So I just want to
Mhm.
thank him for that, and then so now we have the information. We're going to be putting the information in our Kadaga series,
Mhm.
because let's be very clear, family who are listening. Kadaga is fictional, but human trafficking is very real.
Mhm.
So what we are doing, we're telling a different part of the story in our Kadaga web series. And
Mhm.
hopefully, we hope what we say and how we put it out there will make you think, because it's in front of us. We just need to start thinking. So, yeah, and if you're listening, please take the number down for Blue Campaign. So I'm not the, and we have the cards. They have little cards you put on your keychain with information on it. We have those at this office and stuff like that.
Mhm.
When we put right out there for you all to take up when you're leaving the office and stuff, so you could actually have it. But you never know. You never
Mhm.
know. You know, and we should say this in Sisters in Harmony: if the information is not for you, take it and pass it on.
Yeah.
If it, you might say, "Nah, this is not for me." Well, no, take it and pass it on. You never know,
Yeah.
and you don't know when you might come across or when it might cross your path, and all of a sudden it catches you because you remember this.
Mhm.
You say, "Oh wow, is that what they were talking about?" And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, it makes you stop and think.
Mhm.
Like Arsenio, you say things that make you say,
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we everyone doing something could help make this not
Make a
so
difference.
make a difference
Yeah.
in what's going on. This is global. We are blessed in Kadaga, where we have 6 countries in Africa we work with. We have 3 countries in the Caribbean we work with, and we have people in 10 different states and 1 country in Italy we work with. We have people in those states who help us tell the story in
Yeah.
Kadaga, and we thank them for coming on board and working with us. And we like what we. I love. No, no, no. I love doing it because it's actually, you feel like you're doing something positive.
Mhm.
You feel like hey, this is good. I'm doing something to make the community better.
Mhm.
Maybe local, maybe national, maybe international, but you're doing something because we have connected people in Africa with people over here who didn't know each other. Even like when Darcel went to Tanzania,
Mhm. Mhm.
and so we have been able to connect people, and we don't know where it's going to go, but the point is, we're doing something. When what happens with that, we don't have control of it, but at least we did something. Do
Mhm.
something. Just don't
Mhm.
just don't sit back. Do something.
Yeah. There and we talk about it, just the conversation is doing something. It is bringing awareness. I remember when Edmund came to me to say, "Look, this show, this web series called Kadaga started out as a movie, and he was working with someone on it. And then when he said, you know what, I think we talked about it and said we need to make it into a web series. We need to shift its focus. And he was so passionate about it. And I was like, why is this so important to you? And what do you want to do with it? What's the hope for it? So my consultant hat came on, my clinical hat came on, but
Ay, ay, ay.
also my hat as a wife who wants to support him in with this passion and with this purpose. I can tell you what he said, but Brother Moji, you can speak for yourself because you're right here.
Uh,
So, what? Why was this important
you
to
know,
you and for you?
this. Well, this is important to me and for me because Dr. Walls, if as an African American male born in the Caribbean, grew up in the U.S., I read the history of this country and what our ancestors went through, and there was always someone helping them.
Mhm.
Someone stood out. Some of them were white. And but they saw something. They saw something, and they wanted to do something about it.
Mhm.
Okay, think about that. You think about all the people who helped who helped Harriet Tubman, who helped Sojourner Truth, and all those people who helped. They didn't have to, but something moved them to make a difference in what they were seeing. They didn't like what they were saying. They didn't do what Harriet Tubman did, but what they did, they helped her on the way.
Mhm.
And so for me, when this project first started, it was just like it wasn't a one time thing. It was just like a small thing. It's like, oh yeah, and all of a sudden, through I was Spirit speaks. It's just like this could be more than one. This
Mhm.
is more than one.
Mhm.
How do you
Mhm.
take the one and make it more?
Mhm.
So from what you see in if you, everyone who ever see the first season, after the first season, everything was I sat down, I redid everything and made it
Mhm.
more of an organization and listen. And this is like this is bigger than one.
Mhm.
We were in one country in Africa. We were in Uganda. This was
Yeah.
bigger than that.
Yeah.
And as you know, and those who listen, I've never been to Africa yet. My wife been to Africa, but I've
Mhm.
never been to Africa.
Mhm.
But when God gives you something to do, you might not see all of it because it's
Mhm.
not for you. It's just for you to take those what I call steps of blind faith. Because God will never put something on your table and leave you hanging.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
God, I always tell people, my wife and I always say, the God I serve don't do oops.
Mhm.
Okay, I always say my God don't do oops. So I was always like, God, why didn't you put this in front of me? I like a photography. I'm into this. Why did you put this of all things in front of me?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then it started mushrooming, and then start talking to people. All of a sudden, I started watching movies, and the movies was about it.
Mhm.
There was series on TV about it, and then recently I just saw that Jason Statham has a new movie coming out. It deals with human trafficking.
Mhm.
And I'm like, a lot of people are talking about it. That's great. The more that we talk about it, the more we make people aware of it. So for
Yeah.
me, is I don't have what Jason Statham and Hollywood have, but what I do have is what God has put in front of me. And I'm able to work with that.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking anyone to do what I do. Do what you can do. Look at what's going on and see what you can do. Because
Yeah.
if you get tapped on your shoulder, guess what? You're getting tapped for a reason.
Yeah. I was in a meeting today and the person said the same thing and I started laughing. I want to say, "Do you know my husband?" Because they said, God does not the essence of it, and I wrote it down, but I wrote it down in my notes of that meeting was that if God gave it to you, then God is going to give you what you need to
Yeah,
do what
yeah,
needs to be
that's true.
done. I do want to take a moment and highlight some of the information that is on the cards that they shared with us. And again, this is from the Department of Homeland Security. I have put the links in the chat where you can see about the topics, you can see the helplines and the resources. And so they have defined, as Edmund said, there's like these little cards that you can keep on your wallet, you can keep in your keychain. It's part of their blue campaign. So I'll read from this one first. And then on this one, they talk about trafficking versus smuggling and trafficking indicators. Again, this is one that fits in your wallet. So I'm going to share the information that they provide from that. So human trafficking is happening now in communities across the country. Recognize the signs. The person may be forced or coerced to perform commercial sex acts or is under the age of 18 and engaged in commercial sex. That's one. Two, unable to leave their job or situation without severe consequences. Number three, forced to provide services to work off a debt. Number four, controlled, watched, coached, or threatened by someone. Number five, not in possession or control of their own money or identification. And number six, inappropriately dressed, malnourished, disengaged, or tired. Says while no single indicator is proof of human trafficking, there are a few that should alert you to a potential trafficking situation. And so there are the phone numbers, there are the resources, the contact information within those links where even if you suspect, and now as a clinician, as a former classroom teacher, when it came to things like abuse, it wasn't a matter of if it was 100% facts we could prove it. It was that duty to call and protect if we suspect it, right? I would rather know that I called and those who are trained go out and assess the situation instead of me questioning myself, not saying anything, and then hearing something later and then walking around and attempting to live with the guilt and the woulda, coulda, shoulda
Hmm.
space. Anything you want to say, Brother Moji, before I read this next card?
No, please read the next. I love the next card because it's actually the difference between the two. I was like, oh,
Yeah. So human trafficking is defined as first, it says sex trafficking in which a commercial sex act is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such an act has not attained 18 years of age, or the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, or obtaining of a person for labor or services through the use of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of subjection to involuntary servitude, peonage, debt, bondage, or slavery. So that's how human traffic is defined by Homeland Security here in the US. Then they also talk about human smuggling is defined as the importation of people into the United States involving deliberate invasion or immigration laws. Da, 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 da. This offense includes bringing illegal aliens into the United States, as well as the unlawful transportation and harboring of aliens already in the United States. These are not interchangeable terms. Smuggling is transportation based, and trafficking is exploitation based, and they give a phone number to report suspicious activity. So, as I was saying, you may not be 100%, you might not have all the facts, but it's suspicious. And you can call 1-866 347 2423. Again, that's 1-866 347 2423. And then on the back of this card, they talk about trafficking indicators, and they give several of them. So, is the victim in possession of identification and travel documents? If not, who has control of the documents? So, right, passports, IDs. Was the victim coached on what to say to law enforcement and immigration officials? Was the victim recruited for one purpose and forced to engage in some other job? Is the victim's salary being garnished to pay off a smuggling fee? So, paying off a smuggling fee alone is not considered trafficking. Was the victim forced to perform sexual acts? Does the victim have freedom of movement? Has the victim or family been threatened with harm if the victim attempts to escape? Has the victim been threatened with deportation or law enforcement action? Has the victim been harmed or deprived of food, water, sleep, medical care, or other life necessities? Can the victim freely contact friends or family? Is the victim a juvenile engaged in commercial sex? And is the victim allowed to socialize or attend religious services? And again, they give you the telephone number to report suspicious activity. And once again, that is 1-866-347-2423.
I mean, and Dr. wasn't like we're talking about this. Please, people, just take the time. We do so much, and we don't think
Mhm.
about it. And the freedom that some of us have that we just kind of don't we take for granted. Some people don't have it because someone is taking it away from
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
And all you have to do is just make a phone call.
yeah.
You know,
And
like
it can make the difference. And I shared with you before you and I met years ago. There was a local school not far from us where there was this huge human trafficking ring. It was a middle school,
hmm,
and teachers and staff and administration, they didn't know at first, but then someone got suspicious.
hmm,
And it was that suspicion and that phone call that next thing you know unraveled this whole ring. These young middle school girls were coming in with hairdos and nails done and purses and these different clothes and stuff. And it was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And these different cars were pulling up, and I'm the brother, I'm the uncle, I'm the so and so. And it was like it just got to be so much, and the school ended up closing. I
hmm,
don't know if it closed because of that, but it was this huge ring. And unfortunately, these things are more common than what we care to realize. And I remember when I was a teacher, back in the 90s, and there were some students where, I had to question, like I'd be leaving school and seeing older people talking. Who was that talking to you? Do I need to walk you home? Do I need to drive you home? Now, this is back in the day where there were beepers. Why would somebody offer to give you a beeper? What do you need a beeper for? And they're like, calm down. No, I'm not calming down. Right. So you need people like that to advocate and to look out, because hence it's the stronger together. It takes a village to be on the lookout and not allow these these behaviors to infiltrate our neighborhoods, our communities, our families. Go
you
ahead,
know,
Brother Moja.
no, I'm just thinking from what you're saying. There was a couple months ago, right here in Philadelphia, they just busted a human trafficking ring that's in a house in a very nice neighborhood,
Yep.
and it was up and running for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
These 10 years, I mean, the guys like, and people in the neighborhood near this house, they were shocked.
Shocked.
Like
Yes.
this was going on in their neighborhood, and eventually someone made a phone call. Something made someone make a phone call,
Yes.
and then they started doing an investigation. And the
Mm-hmm.
police did what the police do, and they actually it took them a couple of months before to get enough information to break
Yeah.
the ring apart.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like you don't want to say you could have and you didn't. Should have,
Mm-hmm.
could have, would have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it does. After 9/11, I was living in New York. No, I was in New Jersey in 9/11. And I remember the whole thing was if you see something, say something. If you see
Mm-hmm.
something, say something. And now, even when
Mm-hmm.
you go to the airport, they say, if you see someone leave a bag and they walk
That's
away,
right.
say something. They
Yeah.
might have just gone to the bathroom and forgot to pick their bag up, but
Yeah.
at least, you say something because
That's
you
right.
don't know.
That's
So
right.
if you see something, say something. You don't know. If you see like
Mm-hmm.
children, and you're in the airport, you see children like and it doesn't look right. They don't look properly dressed or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's say something. Let's say something. You might be wrong, but you might be right.
Yeah. Yeah.
you might you might have to save a child's life.
Yeah.
Just don't know. It, asking questions. There's nothing wrong in having ask
There isn't.
having law enforcement ask questions.
That's right. And it's something, right, that you don't have to confront on your own.
Exactly.
Right? You can call in law enforcement. You can go make a police report, inquiry. Most people are 1 or 2 degrees away from knowing somebody in law enforcement. So you can ask them what are my best next steps. I mean, that's
Hmm.
what I've done. Sometimes it's like, I have a suspicion about this. What should I do? And they'll direct me accordingly.
Hmm.
So, and how to even have the conversation, Brother Moja mentioned, our web series Kadaga, and how to have we understand that human trafficking is real. Our web series is not real, right? We are creating opportunities though for
So,
conversation.
yeah.
That's the whole thing. That's why we make sure, right? Our web series does not have nudity. It does not have sex in it. There's enough out there. If that's the way in which you want to see this topic, you can watch those things. That's not what we're about. We want to create an opportunities for families to be able to have these discussions. One of our young people, one day I was talking to their mother, and they had gone to the corner store. And when they came back, they were like, Mom, I was so scared. There was this car and it had these men in it, and they were looking at me. And I just felt really weird the way they were looking at me. And they're a preteen. And I said, Do me a favor, put me on speaker. And so the parent put me on speaker. And I said, You did an excellent job. Number one, paying attention to your surroundings. And number two, you did an excellent job coming in and telling your parent what happened and paying attention to your gut. And continue to do that. Continue to pay attention to your environment and continue to tell an adult when you do not feel comfortable or something, and or when something has happened that puts you on alert.
Yeah. It's something that, for me, being a parent and a grandfather, it's just like something that really kind of gets me when I see young people walking around outside with both headphones in. And I'm like, parents should just have their children have one headphone in, because you got to
Mhm.
hear things that's going on. And mostly now they have the headphones where it kills the noise that kills noise. You don't know. Sometimes you don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. People are calling them, or whatever, and they have
Yes,
those headphones and they can't
yes,
hear. I'm
yes,
like, you should just have one in, and that's just for safety, a
yeah,
safety reason. I'm
yeah,
like, I want to hear what's going on. So when I have mine, I always put one in.
yeah, yeah.
I never put two in unless I'm at home.
Mhm,
Or I'm in my office. I'm
mhm,
walking around. If I have them in, I put one in, and that's it. But I want to hear what's going around me. Someone might be calling me for help. So
mm,
someone might just seem to say, help me. If I
mm.
got my headphone, I don't hear it.
Yeah. And let me say this too, right? I'm so glad somebody was sending me messages on the back end about how people will say things in code. And
Mhm.
there's certain language and certain signs. I got a phone call about a week ago that they were saying they were using some of the Adinkra symbols as signals to other pedophiles, that basically, like, we're in the life and you can come to us as a resource for,
Mhm.
or I'm open to. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Someone was just sharing that there was a fruit stand where people would come up and ask for ripe fruit that was just delivered.
Mhm.
And so there's all types of code and layers that, again, if you're not paying attention, it is happening
It goes
right
right by
in
you.
plain sight.
Yes,
It goes right,
by
right,
you.
right by
And,
you.
and I
Yeah.
think that's one of these people who are in this life. They have such a well put together machine
System.
to
Mhm.
move what they call their product, to do their thing. We need to be. well versed, be aware that
Yeah.
this is not like this is not like something that's overnight. This has been thought
Right.
of because people are making
Yes.
millions of dollars on
Yes.
someone else's pain.
Yes. Yes.
And as we look at what's going on, we just need to be aware. The simple things like when when I was very active in the martial arts, my sensei used to tell the women, if you see a van park on the street, do not walk by that van. Cross the
Mm-hmm.
street. Mostly if the pen, back in the van door opens.
Yes.
That's it's on the street side. Don't walk on that side. If you're by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
cross the street.
Yes.
You always cross back.
That's right.
But let's cross the street and walk. If you see people sitting in a car and you see a whole bunch of cigarette buzz outside the car, that person been sitting there for a while. Why?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going up your block and you see a car that you're not familiar with, and you see someone
Mm-hmm.
sitting in that car, and you're not going to be aware, of your surroundings all the time. That's one thing we have to tell our children. Unfortunately, we have, and that's why I'm against having two earphones in your ear at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's happening,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and so that is so dangerous right
And
now.
it's, in the movie, as far as Carlicia is concerned, and as I put in here, it is on Prime. It's also on Lifetime and other ones as well. They say what happened was the man, and they show it in the clip, the man extended his hand and she extended her hand to like to shake it and greet him or whatever. Um, and then he continued to pull her,
Mm,
and that's what happened, and he wasn't letting go, and they have it all, it's captured on camera.
wow.
So it there's so many things that we can do to put ourselves in a better position. Some people obviously they have their agenda, they'll try all types of stuff, and right, the kindness of the human spirit wants to engage with people.
Hmm.
Somebody goes to hand you something. We get emails or social media posts that's like, watch out, somebody will hand you something. It's laced with something. It
Hmm.
seeps into your skin. You'll pass out. Don't let people spray you with perfume.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't do that. And it's like sometimes it's counterintuitive to your nature. And at the same time, you have to be cautious. Um, Go
Hmm.
ahead. Go ahead, Brother Mojo.
No, and something we just haven't talked right about quickly is that don't think you're too old for this, because there's another
Thank
part of
you.
human trafficking called body parts. They need body
Mhm.
parts,
Mhm.
and that is another big part of human trafficking. So
Mhm.
you might think, I'm a grown man, they ain't gonna mess. You don't know. They might see you and say, oh, you know what? We need some of his body parts, or we
That's
need some
right.
of your body parts.
That's
So
right.
don't think because you're a grown person and so forth and so on, they're not gonna come after you, because
That's right.
body parts is another part of human
Yeah.
trafficking. The
Yeah.
trafficking body parts, that's major. And we touch on that in
In
Kadaga
Kadaga as
also.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so we do it. So, again, back to why we do the web series, it is to create the conversation. It is and as Brother Moja mentioned earlier, and thank you for everyone who's joining us. And if you haven't subscribed yet to Ask Dr. Walls 525, please do so. It is free to subscribe. Just hit that like button. We also have our UCCN TV channel on YouTube, which is where Kadaga sits. I will make sure to drop that link in a few moments. Um, but one of the things that is unique about Kadaga, Brother Moja mentioned earlier, is that we work with between, at the moment, 6 to 8 different countries in Africa, 4 countries in the Caribbean, and about 11 to 12 states within the US. And it is a global problem. So, therefore, we have a global cast and crew. All right.
I'm excited about February. We have several individuals coming to Philadelphia from different states to shoot some scenes for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it has taken us. We're now this is our fourth season we're shooting, and we are now at
Mm-hmm.
a point where we have people wanting to be part of this because they see what we have been, Dr. Walls, we have been consistent on
Mhm.
how we say this, and we have not changed our words for monetary reasons.
Mhm.
We have been consistent with this
Mhm.
because I truly believe, in the Christian Bible it says, "I am the Lord God; I change not."
Mhm.
So we have not changed the story. We have adjusted and added to it so we could expand it to bring more people in. And I'm excited
Mhm.
about what's going on to see people from different backgrounds coming in and wanting to be part of Kadaga now.
Mhm.
And the numbers are taking off, and people are waiting for their scripts so they could do
Mhm.
their part. You
Mhm.
know, that is, to me, it's God all the way, because like I said, I've never been to Africa. Over 80% of the people we're working with I never met, or I met them one time.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when they look at our website or they look at the YouTube channel, they see
Mhm.
we have been consistent on what we say, how we
Yes.
say it, and where we put it.
Yeah.
And so that's something. I thank God for giving us the vision and
Mhm.
touching us to do it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is again, there's several things that make Kadaga very unique. Um yeah, Dion said she remembers when they were taking homeless people for body parts.
Mm,
Yeah. That's the thing about this, we could really call it an epidemic, right? Nobody, it's like everybody's on the table as an option for individuals who are looking to live this type of life, meaning, predators is what I'm referring to. And
mhm,
so this is why we have to make sure we are caring for ourselves and preventing as much as we can. We do, thank goodness, have things on our cell phones like location that we can share with people. Letting people know where we are is so important. There's just all types of community safeguards that we can take into account and put into practice so that we can try to eliminate it as much as possible. And again, back to the web series, that's the purpose, is to eliminate this thing called human trafficking that, in our opinion, does not have to exist
mhm.
in this planet at all. It just doesn't have to be a part of our reality, our life reality. And but until it's gone, it's something that we have to make sure that we're working against. And hence we're stronger together when we're working against it. I had a guest on my Dr. Walls and Friends show a while ago, and he was talking about the different work that he does to go help free individuals who have been hostages
Yeah,
and and so forth. And that's someone who's doing their part in a very different way. I called him James Bond on the show, right? But he's doing things in a very different way. And so, to Edmund's point, right? You're doing your part. Even if you just take this video tonight and you share it with somebody, this show, and you say, hey, check this out, right? You're creating the conversation. Um, the other thing that's unique about it is we made it our official web series for our registered nonprofit, our 501c3 nonprofit, because our nonprofit, the purpose of Sisters for, the number four Harmony, and I dropped the link in the chat. The specific purpose of Sisters for Harmony is to unite women of all backgrounds and cultures in the local community. And we consider the local community the global community, to guide and support the next generation of young women through mentoring, education, and teaching them to live with a purpose and work towards a common goal by harmonizing their talents, skills, and abilities. We seek to educate, empower, network, mentor, and unite these women through workshops, seminars, podcasts, and creative artworks. Our various initiatives take place in person as well as virtually. So, again, when you hear that, this is what Kadaga is about. It is women, everyday women, professionals, whether they're working in a bookstore, whether they're garbage women, whether they're security guards, therapists, whatever. right? And they're coming together, they're uniting. They're also mentoring younger warriors, making sure that they're being raised properly, making sure that they are living their life with purpose and on purpose. And so one day we were sitting around and just talking about the web series, and it was just like, son of a gun, that's Sisters for Harmony in action, right? Let's make this the official web series for us. So that's what we did. The thing that's also wonderful about it is we are a registered nonprofit. So when people make donations to us, it is a tax write-off. It is a charitable donation. And so for people who are interested in the work that we do, if you ever want to donate to the nonprofit, so that there's a drop down box, you can see it, you hit that donate button, you can donate towards the web series, you can donate towards the vodcast that we do, you can donate towards the panel discussions and seminars and so forth that we do, or you can just click use it as you need to. And so we are open to that as well. And we thank people who do take the time to do that. Um, Go ahead, Brother Moja.
No, I also we're in season 4, and the beautiful thing, we have reached out to some stores and some companies,
Businesses. Hmm.
businesses, and we have asked them about they're shooting some B-roll in their stores,
Hmm.
because we want to highlight their stores, and we want to show people that we are being supported by local businesses. And I want to thank those we have reached out to, who have reached back to us,
Yeah.
because we want to do that. We don't want to, you know, Dr. Walls. I want this to look like us in the community. So
Yeah.
going out and having the community involved on some level,
Yeah.
you know, in there's maybe doing a 30-second drop in the store, doing a few scenes in us, doing one or two
Yes.
scenes in the
Yes.
store. It puts us in a position where people will see your store,
Yep.
that you're supporting what we're doing,
Yep.
and then they could come in and support you.
That's
You
right.
know? So is reciprocity, in that we are um, working with the community,
Yes.
and the community is and the community coming out and supporting you, and which
Yeah.
is the third principle of Nguru's Harvard collective work and responsibility,
Responsibility.
coming
Hmm.
together, and showing the Ujim and the collective, showing the cooperative economics, the power of our community. Again,
Yes.
not only this, not economics, could be the money could be in different ways, and they're supporting people, coming out and telling your
Hmm.
friends about yeah, this store is helping them. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
support this store, so forth and so on. So I just want to thank the local businesses who have listened to our calls. So can we shoot some B-roll film in your store? Can we
Yeah.
do this, and can we do that? So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I'm also putting a link in the chat for the episode that you and I did to talk about Kadaga. So if people want to learn more about it, you can then go to the playlist and watch some episodes. The other thing that's unique about it is it consists largely of people who are not actors or actresses by profession. Right? We ended up with people who said that they were interested in finding out about acting, about filmmaking. Some wanted to be in front of the camera, some wanted to be behind the camera. And we wanted to create a safe space for
Mm-hmm.
people to
Space.
explore,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you hear unfortunately, the true stories, um, the story in Hollywood and the quote unquote casting couch and all of these different types of things where someone may have a love and an interest in acting, but those realities turn them off of exploring it. And so we wanted to create a safe space for people to say, hey, I am interested in this. Let me practice, so to speak, without the pressure
Mm-hmm.
of the other pieces. And so I would say, what, 90 plus percent of our cast. I mean, now our cast numbers have grown, so we might be at about the 90%. But when we started out, we really only had two SAG actors. Everybody else was trying it out, so
Yeah.
to speak. And
And you know,
so
yeah,
did you see the growth of
the
some
growth.
of the characters over time? Go
And
ahead.
you know, Dr. Wade, Dr. Walls, Dr. I gotta thank brother Atif.
Yes,
He's been up with us for a while. He actually
yes.
put me in contact with a brother who has an acting school here in Philly, and
Mhm.
he's sending me some actors, young actors, people who are interested in acting to be part of Kadaga. He said to me the other day, he said, "Do you need any children?" I said, "Yeah, we want to show children." He said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I got some children, children actors."
Mhm.
And he actually sent me a video of one of them a couple of days ago. So I want to thank him.
Mhm.
So we are now Kadaga is not in a position where if someone comes in and says, "Listen, I would like to get some acting lessons," do you know? So we know someone we could send them to now, and that's pretty cool to really
Mhm.
talk to someone who's teaching acting and stuff like that, who has a school for actors
Yeah.
in the Philadelphia area.
And so, so if you're listening and you're saying, "Hey, this sounds kind of interesting," or if you're saying, I don't want to be on camera, we do have some individuals who have said that to us that they
Mhm.
don't want to be on camera, but they've been able to do voiceovers. And or we have some individuals who have chosen to participate in the filming, right? They take behind the scenes pictures. We have young people where they're teaching them how to feed the lines to us while we're on set. So there's all types of creative spaces and opportunities if that's something that you're interested in. Brother Moja, if people are listening and they are interested in thinking, and I know some people are saying, but I'm not in the Philadelphia area. Well, again, we work with individuals who are 6 to 8 countries in Africa, 4 countries in the Caribbean, and 10 to 12 different states.
Yeah, Dr. Walls, thank you for
Yes,
saying that. And there's we please family remember we live in the 21st century with the technology we have. We can do so much.
come on.
We are about to shoot a scene for Kadaga using Zoom.
Mhm.
Okay, between
Mhm.
three states, three
Mhm.
countries, excuse me, three
Mhm.
countries.
Mhm.
So there are ways to do this,
Yeah.
and I want people to think. Let me say this real quick, Dr. Walls.
Yes.
The film industry globally is a multi-trillion-dollar industry.
Mhm.
So the parents who are listening to me and the people who are listening to me, the most important job in the film industry, the most important job, in my humble opinion, is a person you don't see on screen. That's the
Mhm.
writer.
Mhm.
Without a script, you cannot get anyone. If you talk to a list actor, anyone say, "Can I see your script? You have a script. You have a
Mhm.
script." If you want someone to fund your project, do you have a script so they could? Everyone's going to ask you for your script, and so the writer in this multi-trillion-dollar industry, the writer is the most important person, and they are not on screen.
Mhm.
So you have children who
Mhm.
like writing or reading. Talk to them about because the screenplay has to be written to have a movie done.
Yes.
Period. So
Mhm.
think about that, fam. I want the parents to think about that. The aunties, the uncles, the adults. Think about the most
Yeah.
important job is the writer.
Yeah. Thank you, Brother Mojo. Well, we are at the top of the hour. This has been packed full of information. If we thank everyone for coming to join us this evening. Like I said, we could not leave this month, January, National Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and not do a show. Like I said, our heads are down. We're in it all the time, and it was like it almost flew by, but here we are nonetheless. So we thank you for joining us. If you have not subscribed to Ask Dr. Walls 525, please just take a moment, click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything but that second that it takes you to click it. We do a lot of different shows on my channel. Next Wednesday, next Thursday will be the first Thursday of the month where we do our Sisters 4 Harmony Vodcast at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be ready for that. I'm excited for I can't believe it's February come Saturday. Just so that you know, Brother Moser, I need to pull up this flyer real quick while I'm in the process of doing that. Please make any statements that you want to make.
Well, tomorrow Friday is the what 31st, and I
Hmm.
just want to say, those of you in the Philadelphia area, I will be out with Mama Gail at her event at the
Oh,
school
thank you.
tomorrow. So if you're with Mama Gail, I hope you see me, come over and say hi. I'll be at the school with Mama Gail tomorrow, and I'm excited about that. And
Tell them about that event. Why is that so important?
you know, Mama Gail and I have so many people in common going back to New York. And when we started talking, I said, "Wait a second, you were there?" Oh, yeah, I was there. And
Hmm.
but we never met until here, like what, a week or so ago. And that's
About 2 weeks
the brother,
ago.
yeah, the brother told me about her for doing a scene in Kadaga. She's going to be in Kadaga.
Hmm.
So I went to meet her, and they had this room in the school, to where the children could take a time, but parents could come in there and talk and relax and stuff. When you walk into this room, it's like you're not in a school. It's like you're walking into a safe space, a
Hmm.
quiet place, a peaceful place. They have it set up so beautiful. The pictures on the wall, couches and stuff. I'm like, am I still in the school here?
Hmm.
And so tomorrow they're gonna be dedicating the room tomorrow at the school, and I'm gonna be there because I think they start at 9 o'clock. I probably won't be there until like 10:30.
Okay.
So it's gonna be really beautiful. So I think they're trying to do this in some more schools in Philadelphia. So I'm really excited about seeing how this is the first seed, I think, in a lot of other things to come. So I think if you, like I said, I don't have the flyer in front of me,
Yeah,
but
I was trying to find it. I don't have it either.
yeah, so Mama Gail, and I mean, so she is,
It's Dr. Ethel Allen,
yeah,
the school,
yes,
yeah, in Philadelphia.
and so
So
they're having this event tomorrow for Mama Gail, and Mama Gail's having this event from the room. They're gonna be dedicating the room tomorrow, and so they'll be there. It's gonna be really nice. I'm excited to meet her again. And like I said, those of y'all in the Philadelphia, you might not even be in Philadelphia because she was in New York when we crossed paths in New York, but we didn't know each other then.
yeah,
So we know people in New York. Um, she's very well known, and she's coming. She's coming into Kadaga, family.
yes, that's right.
And we're excited about that. But we have this esteemed elder who's
Yes,
now going to be part of Kadaga.
yes.
Kadaga covers so much, and my wife and I are very excited about that because we're able to show that this story has 360 degrees to it.
Hmm. And I want to share another event that is happening this weekend that we're hoping people will be able to come out to. And this is a free event. And this is being done by the Learn, Empower, Grow Consulting Group. And it is an early childhood educator wellness event, but they are opening it up to people because we all need some help, some help, some health, and some wellness. And it is going to be a full day from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you get a chance to sleep in. You don't have to be there at the crack of dawn. You get a chance to sleep in, and then you get a chance to spend some time with us. And I say us because yours truly will be there with a panel discussion after we watch a film by Dr. Nia Bailey, and it is blanking on the name. Can one of y'all please put the name of the documentary? A Letter to My Sisters. Yes. So we'll be watching that documentary. We'll be talking about it. We'll be talking about breast cancer. And please be clear, this is something that happens in men just like it happens in women. So for the men out there who are thinking, oh, this doesn't apply, it does apply to you too. Breast cancer is something that has touched a lot of our lives, and or someone who is close to us. And then we'll also be having some wellness activities, and that will be with Miss Deja Naba Gordon. And we'll be doing some yoga, some stretching, and so forth. And so yoga can be modified. So if you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm not that flexible," don't worry. She's an excellent teacher, and she will provide the modifications. I am going to drop the link in the chat so that you can be sure to register ahead of time. This is going to be a wonderful event, and it is going to be one of more to come. So let's start this year off right. Let's get our health, let's get our mindsets together because, really, as we know, our wealth is really around our health. Because if we don't have our health, we can't do nothing else. All
Yeah.
right. So we got to take time to do that. So, as always, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you for joining us. Please be sure to click these links that have been placed in the chat so that you can sign up, so that you can watch episodes. If you want to make a donation to Sisters for Harmony, you can do that too. All of these opportunities are right here. We thank you once again for joining us. Brother Moja, anything you want to say before we close out?
No, I'm good. Let's be careful out there. We want to
Yes.
talk to you, not about you. Okay.
Yes. Oh, and let me say this, Brother Umoja and I are working to create a self-defense course. That is something that we are looking to have. Sisters for Harmony is looking to have this year. So we will keep you posted when we get all of that together, as well as some additional in-person events that we will be having. So be sure to join us. All right. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, God bless and continue to live your greatest life. I look forward to seeing you soon. Be well. Bye bye.
Goodbye. Good night.